Let's kick off this explainer with a number that's just massive: $75 billion. That is the jaw-dropping 2025 valuation of the global fintech giant Revolut. I mean, it's a staggering figure, right? It represents a company that has completely revolutionized how millions of us interact with our money, and they've rapidly expanded their reach to almost every corner of the globe. But hold on, because I want you to pivot with me for a second. $1.2 billion. This is the newly minted 2026 unicorn valuation of a much quieter, laser-focused UK company called Alika Bank. It is a mere fraction of Revolut's colossal size, literally a fraction. Yet, in the highly competitive world of business banking, they are packing a surprisingly heavy punch. So today, we are diving into a fascinating tale of two fintechs. We're going to analyze how market dominance can look radically different depending on the overarching strategy a company chooses. Like, does a business win the future of finance by going incredibly broad and trying to capture the whole world, or by going deeply specialized into a single highly profitable niche? Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit Revolut, the global behemoth, then Alika, the SME specialist, followed by expanding through acquisition, and we'll wrap it up with the final head-to-head. All right, Section 1, Revolut, the global behemoth. Let's start with the absolute Goliath of our story. Since its founding back in 2015, Revolut hasn't just grown, it has exploded. They've planted their flag in over 160 countries and regions, securing banking licenses across Europe, the UK, and Mexico. And they've got their sights firmly set on the US and beyond. The sheer financial gravity of that global footprint is honestly wild. Look at their 2025 financials. Revolut reported a staggering £4.5 billion in revenue. That led to £1.3 billion in net income. And that revenue engine, it's fueled by a massive global user base. We are talking tens of millions of retail customers, managing their daily lives right through the app. So how do you actually achieve that kind of scale? Well, you cast the absolute widest net possible. Revolut's ecosystem is incredibly vast. They offer retail banking, crypto and stock trading, personal loans, buy now, pay later options, and over on the corporate side, they've got multi-currency accounts and merchant acquiring. Their strategy is pretty straightforward. Be the ultimate everything app for your finances, no matter who you are or what you need to do. Honestly, they'd probably offer to walk your dog if they could figure out how to put it on the blockchain, right? And you know what? This broad, volume-driven approach has absolutely paid off tremendously in the business-to-business space, too. Within this massive ecosystem, Revolut has captured an astonishing 750,000 business customers globally. By offering everything from basic checking to payment processing for merchants, they've convinced hundreds of thousands of companies to trust their platform. It is the ultimate proof that an expansive, global scale works brilliantly. Moving on to Section 2, Alika, the SME specialist. Because what happens when you completely ignore that entire Go Global playbook? Enter the David on our story. Alika Bank achieved its prestigious unicorn status by deliberately tuning out the retail noise entirely. They simply aren't trying to be an app for everyone. Instead of chasing 70 million global users all over the map, Alika is laser-focused on one very specific group, the UK's established small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs. At the time of their $1.2 billion valuation in early 2026, Alika reported just over 30,000 business customers, so they intentionally aren't chasing millions of micro accounts. No, they want established, solid businesses that need serious financial backing and really sophisticated banking relationships. Now, here's a plot twist from the source material that I absolutely love, and it makes this whole comparison so compelling. Do you know who Alika's CEO is? Richard Davies. And his previous gig? He was literally the chief operating officer of Revolut. I mean, this is fascinating. It shows that Alika's leadership intimately knows the Go Broad, Go Global Revolut playbook. They helped to execute it, but they deliberately chose to walk down a completely different, highly specialized path. Which brings us to the absolutely crucial point right here, £3.7 billion. Despite having a tiny, tiny fraction of Revolut's customer base, Alika achieved a staggering £3.7 billion in lending to these established SMEs as of their 2025 results. By focusing deeply on the specific, capital-heavy needs of a few, they're driving a massive financial impact per user, rather than relying on global volume. Let's actually walk through this timeline really quick because it shows just how fast they built this B2B dominance. They only secured their banking license in 2019. Fast forward to 2022, they strategically acquire and migrate Allied Irish Bank's £600 million SME loan book. In 2025, they make a huge move by acquiring the fintech company Krea. And by February 2026, all this foundational, highly strategic growth culminates in hitting that $1.2 billion unicorn valuation. Okay, Section 3. Expanding through acquisition. Because Alika isn't just growing organically, right? They are actively weaponizing strategic acquisitions to deepen their B2B moat. To really grasp why their recent acquisition of Krea was such a big deal, we need a quick refresher on embedded finance. Basically, it means seamlessly integrating financial services, like offering business credit or pay later options at an online checkout, directly into non-financial platforms. It's about a bank being exactly where the business customer already is, right at the exact moment they need liquidity to make a purchase. So, back in October 2025, Alika executes a 100% acquisition of Krea. Now, Krea had already advanced a remarkable £4 billion in business credit. This instantly allows Alika to enter the embedded B2B payment space. Krea, in turn, gets access to Alika's highly scalable, lower-cost banking deposits. Together, this combined powerhouse is now targeting a massive £1 billion in invoice finance lending alone by 2028. And honestly, this is such a brilliant illustration of Alika's quiet power. By buying Krea, Alika isn't just buying a tech platform, they're inheriting giants. Krea already had established embedded finance partnerships with massive players like Halfords and the payment behemoth Stripe. So overnight, literally overnight, Alika embedded itself into the checkout flows of major corporations. And that is exactly how you build an incredibly deep, specialized competitive advantage. All right, bringing us to Section 4, the final head-to-head. We've seen the Goliath and we've seen the David. Now it's time to bring these heavyweights side by side. Let's break down these two completely opposite philosophies. On one side, you have broad and global. Revolut operates in over 160 countries, serving both retail consumers and businesses, offering literally everything from basic accounts to crypto. On the other side, you have deep and local. Alika is heavily UK-focused, exclusively serving established SMEs with a massive emphasis on heavy lending and embedded B2B credit. When you actually look at the hard numbers, the contrast is just wild. Revolut is sitting at a $75 billion valuation. Alika is at $1.2 billion. Revolut has a sweeping 750,000 business customers. Alika has a highly concentrated 30,000. But look at that core metric. Revolut generated £4.5 billion in global revenue from its vast empire. Alika, with just a tiny fraction of the customers, pushed out £3.7 billion in highly targeted SME lending. It proves exactly how high concentration lending matches the sheer financial weight of massive global volume. Which brings us to the core takeaway of this whole explainer. A $1.2 billion bank competes with a $75 billion giant by ignoring the retail noise entirely. Deep specialization yields a massive financial impact per user. It acts as the absolute perfect counterweight to global scale. You don't actually need tens of millions of users if the 30,000 you do have are driving billions in deeply integrated financial value. So, I'm going to leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up: niche versus scale. As the global economy continues to shift and digital banking matures, which strategy do you really believe has more long-term staying power? Do you want to be the lightweight, flexible bank for everyone, everywhere, or the heavy-hitting, indispensable engine for a select few? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.